it's time to sharpen up those edges and grease up your chains.
We are going to live it up with mountain life. Dropping in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's up, mountain lifers, mountain lovers, mountain bikers, hikers, climbers, and good timers? Happy summer. How you doing? Or more interestingly, what are you doing? What's the next adventure? Where is the trail going to take you? And what wild animals will you see there? My name is Feet Banks. This is a Live It Up with Mountain Life podcast, and we've got animals on the brain today because our guest is Maxime Légaré-Vézina, who just won the prestigious Canadian Wildlife Photographer of the Year award and is the master of sitting still out in the wilds for hours on end, like some kind of Kung Fu Panda Zen master, just waiting for that one perfect shot of a panda or a raccoon, or a lot of the time, an owl or a bear or a wolf or a moose. We're going to dig into all those animals and what kind of mind frame and what kind of work it takes to capture them in their natural elements. But first, let's hear from our podcast partners and longtime friends over at The North Face. This episode is brought to you by The North Face. Exploring since 1966, The North Face has innovated versatile gear designed to keep you warm, comfortable, and moving. Designed to push the limits of what's possible, at The North Face, we never stop exploring. Okay, back to wild animals. Preliminary and admittedly half-assed internet research tells me that people are captivated by wild animals because when we see one, it's usually a somewhat spontaneous event, unpredictable, rare, and also seeing a wild creature, especially something larger than ourselves, like a moose or a polar bear, reminds us of our own evolutionary connection to nature, to the food chain, to a simpler life, to history. And animals, not a single one of them will ever have to think about their property taxes or their cell phone bills or the problems at their jobs, which sounds like a pretty good way to live. And for sure, some wild animals can easily kill, mangle, or eat us, but we love them anyhow. And people also love photos and videos of wild animals almost as much as seeing them in real life. In the old days, even before my time, much of the world's animal photography came from National Geographic, which published its first wildlife photos in 1906, partially because up until the late 1800s, taking a photo required the subject to stand still for like 30 seconds, and very few animals were down with that. These days, wildlife photography is a huge industry with hundreds of thousands of photos submitted each year to publications and competitions from prestigious outlets like the Natural History Museum or, here in Canada, the Canadian Geographic Wildlife Photographer of the Year contest, which Maxime won in 2025. Maxime Légaré-Vézina is based out of Quebec City and has been shooting photos of wildlife since about 2014, full-time since 2022. He started shooting the animals that were around in his home region, a lot of birds and owls, and has since traveled the world leading photography workshops or on assignment to track down the next exciting animal on his list. Sometimes he sits in the weather all day and waits. Sometimes the grizzly bear charges him. But for the most part, Max gets the kinds of shots that win awards, inspire the masses, and get him into magazines like Mountain Life. So let's drop in with Maxime Légaré-Vézina. We haven't talked since 2024, but
it's been a while.
Yeah, things are going well. I wanted to ask you, I've been thinking about this pretty much since then. I didn't ask you this last time. If you could get killed and eaten by any animal or group of animals, what would you choose for death by animal?
That's a very good one. It's something I never thought about before. What animal would really need the meat coming from me?
Right.
Like I'm thinking about, would it be like a threatened species? I don't know. That's a tricky question. That's a good one.
Your answer is just any animal that's hungry.
Yeah, let's go with that. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, the other thing I told some friends I was going to talk to you. A lot of people, obviously, wildlife photography, you're one of Canada's preeminent wildlife photographers. It's getting more popular, but for a lot of people, their first introduction to it, other than, seeing for the photos, but to the actual photographer, was this movie or this short story, Walter Mitty, by James Thurber.
Yeah.
You know this one. So the idea
That's a
there
nice
is
one.
that, the guy has been hunting for this snow leopard or whatever, and he finally sees it, and he doesn't take the photo. He just savors the moment.
Oh my
Does
God.
that seem stupid to you, or is that something that could potentially happen, or has that ever happened to you?
I mean, I wish I could be that person, just living in the present moment and just like enjoying what's happened in front of me. But I feel like I'm like too much of a photographer inside of me. So for me, what I would be thinking about is, oh my God, I hope I get the shot.
Yeah,
But when I watched this movie again like 2 months ago. I was like, oh, to watch this again. That was good.
yeah,
So yeah, no, honestly, for me, I think I will love to live, the experience and like everything. But I think if I can go out of this with some good photos, obviously I will be even happier because now I can, after that, I can, watch it over again and just like live this moment
yeah,
over
yeah.
again.
I
So
feel like
yeah.
that's a very romanticized fictional story. I feel like
Yeah.
probably you could have it both ways, right? Like the
Yeah,
photograph is only 1/10,000th of a second, and the
pretty
animal's going to
much.
be there for a while. So
If you're lucky, it's
yeah.
going to be there for a while. Yeah.
um, for the people that aren't familiar, that maybe didn't catch the profile we did in the magazine a few years ago, give me a little bit of the backstory. How long have you been like photographing animals seriously? I know you've been doing it professionally since I think 2023 full time.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, how
pretty
did you get
much.
into it? How did this happen?
Oh my God, I started, you mean for the beginning?
Yeah, yeah, kind of. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So yes, I started like everything started 12 years ago. Like 2014 is when I bought the first camera. I was just traveling and I wanted to get some good photos. So this is why I decided to get this first camera and to practice a bit in the field. And I think this is when the real passion began. So really like connecting with the first animal. I remember at first it was just like a muskrat, but I was like so excited to have like this little like wild critter in front of me. So this is pretty much where the passion started, and for many years, for 8 years, it's been only a passion. I still had like a full-time job, but I was going out in the field as much as I could. Like, I was working like evening shift, so I could go out every morning. I was going out pretty much like I would say 5 days per week for like 8 years. So for a long time, and in 2022 there was some changes at this job, and I felt like I didn't have enough time. I actually had two full-time jobs at that
yeah,
point,
yeah,
and because I started to make some money with the photography, and they wanted me back for like doing more hours at the job. I was like, oh, it's not going to be possible, so I decided to drop this, which was
yeah.
probably the
And
best
that was
decision.
like
Not
an
probably.
office. That was like an office job inside.
Yeah, it was for a bank.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I was like, yeah, not the best job to have, but I mean, it was good. Like for you know
yeah,
anyway, so long story short, so yeah, I decided to quit this job, and now it's been 4 years, and yeah, things are doing well, honestly.
yeah. I mean, it seems like you've been achieving awards, in the wildlife photography, more than a dozen awards since 2019. And then last year, I just read you won Canadian Geographic's 2025 Wildlife Photographer of the Year. So
Yeah,
apparently that's so, like, they get 10,000 submissions.
yeah, that's a lot. Honestly, it was a big deal. Like the first, like when I still remember when I got the email, I was like, oh my God, I couldn't tell anyone,
Yeah,
obviously.
because they want to announce it in the
I mean,
mag. And
yeah, exactly. I needed to wait, for the press release and everything, but I was like, oh my God, I was like so excited about this because this is like probably one of the biggest achievements you can have. Like
have you been
the
entering this contest before in prior years, or?
Yeah, I think it was like the third or fourth time. And usually I was always sending like my 10 to 20 best photos. So I wouldn't like applying every year because you need to wait to have like some good content. So,
Hmm.
but every time you apply, you're like, I hope I'm going to win at least, like a third place, or because there are multiple category in this
Yeah.
but I won like the biggest prize, so that was pretty cool, honestly. Good feeling and good recognition for like all of the time that I spent
Yeah. And
on this. Yeah.
obviously, like, this is an audio podcast, so we can't, we'll have to put the picture up like in the description or something. But
Yeah.
it was it, do they base it on the submission or just on one photo?
On the submission, there was
Right.
20 photos
Right, right.
sent for this submission, so it was just like for a general portfolio.
Yeah, because everyone's talking about this photo of a bear, a very close up of a bear. Half the
Yeah.
face is in light, half the face is in dark. You can really see the eyes. Maybe just talk to me about that. Just that day getting this bear photograph. You're out in British Columbia. You normally live in Quebec. So you're
Yeah.
traveling for bears.
Yeah, pretty much. I was going to Vancouver Island, to the north of Vancouver Island, to photograph the bears because it was September when the salmon are. I wouldn't know how to pronounce that in English, but they were going back to the rivers, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, bears are waiting for them, and it was just like this gorgeous light. And I had a bear. He came quite close, but still, like, I was at a respectful distance. I have a big zoom, you probably saw it too, so I was not really concerned, but and then it looked like straight at me, and I had like this beautiful, as you said, half of the face in the light and the other half in the shadows. So it's pretty much one of my in my top five ever, that's
Yeah.
for sure. And just a very beautiful moment with that bear.
And I mean, part of I think what people like is that they can look into this bear's eyes, right? And so you get to look into a lot of animals' eyes like that. What do you see in these animals? Like, do you people have a tendency to try to anthropomorphize and put human qualities into animals, but what do you see in some of these animals?
It depends on the species. Like lately, what I've been photographing is a family of loon. They actually just hatched like a couple of days ago, and like just the interaction between like the chick and the adult. I wish I could show you some photos, but you have such a beautiful connection with this family. I was able to see the dad. I don't know if we can see the dad, but the male is going to pick up some fish while the female is just like taking care of the babies and just always watching around. Um, yeah, it really depends of the animal, but there's a lot to see there for sure. Like beautiful emotion, and especially when you have like a family in front of you.
Right.
And now this is the time for it's summer, so this is this time of the year where you see all of the newborns. So yeah, it's just an amazing time of the
And
year.
is there one animal species that seems more intelligent? Like I know you shoot a lot of owls. Um, is there one animal that seems to be more aware, more intelligent, or more like thinking
I
about
would say
you?
like Yeah, I would say Raven. They're probably like super because everyone knows that they're super smart, but you can tell that they really are. It really depends. Like birds in general, I would say, not the small one, obviously, but like as you said, sometimes the owl you can see like they're like specialized hunter. They can hear everything. They're just like killing machine, basically.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a theory out there that like some birds or maybe all some animal, but that crows and those birds especially can kind of read your mind, right? Or like if you're on the beach and you have a rock in your hand and you're walking toward the crow or the raven, like they'll fly away. And if you,
Oh yeah,
if
they
you don't
will.
have a rock in your hand, you can get a lot closer, right? I mean, like
I
it's
think
in
so.
your hand; they can't see it.
Yeah, it's the same with the camera, with this big zoom. Sometimes you're just like trying to point it slowly at the animal, but when they have it looks like a big gun, right? So when
Yeah,
they have this, they're just like usually they will just depending again, but sometimes they just run away. So yeah, they're smarter than we think.
it's interesting you mentioned that it looks like a big gun. I mean, so much of your process is very similar to people that hunt animals, right?
Oh yeah,
Almost up
totally
until the
agree.
final shot. Do
It
you,
is,
do
yeah.
you have a lot of buddies that hunt, or do hunters come up to you like, hey, we should just follow that guy, or ask for advice and stuff?
Not really. I mean, it's two different world, right? Because as you said, we have the same approach. Basically, it's just at the end we just don't click on the same thing.
Hmm.
So I'm not 100% against the hunting, but obviously, I would rather not having them shoot my animals. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
say my animals, but animals in general. So yeah, I would say it's probably like two different. Well, I know a lot of photographers are, you know, very activist against this,
Yeah.
especially in Europe, because there's a lot of problem with hunting with the fox and that kind of things. Here, I feel in North America, we still have like a lot of animals, so it's fine. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not that much in touch with
As
like hunt
as
or
you as your career has progressed over the past, 15 years, 12, 15 years, do you find that your approach to conservation has like magnified? Like, are you more active in conserving these wild spaces, protecting these animals, or were you always like that from the start? Like, the more time you spend with them, do you get more riled up about this?
Yeah, I'm trying to because obviously I feel like my job is, nature offers me a lot and it's a good thing to give back to nature. So I feel like, through social media, mostly we can just like showcase how beautiful this nature is and get people to care about that and to protect it.
Yeah.
And in terms of conservation, I need to do more work because I'm just like, I feel like now I have to give back. So every time that I can, I do. But I will need to actively look for more opportunity to just like, do something.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned social media. It feels like, since with digital cameras, with social media, wildlife photography is more popular than ever before. In the old days, it
Oh
was just a
yeah.
couple magazines, maybe an art show or something. And now, you could spend your whole day just looking at photos of animals. Is
Oh
there,
yeah.
in your experience, is there a risk or that there's too many people out there taking, like if you go to the park, is there 50 people trying to catch a photo of one owl?
That happens,
Right.
especially with owls when you go like to big center like Vancouver, Montreal, even Quebec City here now. We're still a small city, but there's a lot of photographer on here. I feel like now everyone who has a little interest for nature is becoming like a wildlife photographer, which is good because I mean there's some good things about this, but it can put a lot of pressure sometimes on the animal, especially as I said, the owls. They're just like mythical, and everyone loves owl. And during winter, we don't have much to shoot here, especially in Quebec. So everyone are trying to photograph the owls. So when one is discovered, for example, like the great gray, which is the biggest one we have in North America, very impressive owl. So there could be a lot of people. I remember counting 65 people in the field last
Wow.
winter. I was like, oh, this is like, yeah. No, it got very, very bad.
There's always
So
the risk with that many people that, even if it's by accident, somebody drops some garbage or somebody steps on, a nest of something or whatever. So in the
yeah,
wilderness though, are you seeing it trickle down into there? Like obviously a public park is different than,
yeah,
4 hours outside of town in the bush. Is it getting busier in the wilderness too?
it is too. Yeah, but you can still be in peace here. So the lake where I go to photograph the loons, usually like a couple of years ago, I was always there alone by myself. So now I see every morning like one, two, three other photographers, which is fine. It's a big space, it's fine. But there's definitely more people. I would be like very interested to know the statistics, but in my personal opinion, I would say probably like four times more photographers after COVID than before.
Right.
So it's good because I'm also a guide. I'm a photographer, but I'm also a photo tour guide. So there's a lot of people out there,
Right.
looking for tours, which is great in terms of business. And as I said, more people to showcase like beauty of nature. We just need to be like keep in mind to like respect nature and to stay like well educated, if I can say.
Yeah. Have you ever
Yeah.
seen like couple photographers fighting out there? Like
Oh yeah.
getting in the way of each other and like getting angry
Of
and
course.
aggressive. And,
Mm.
it seems like that's the opposite of why you go.
I know, and it's very competitive, like every other thing, I guess. But yeah, photography could be very competitive, and there's always, some people like so yeah, there is sometimes some people like
Crazy.
very aggressive towards each other. I'm just like, oh my God, guys,
Is
we
it
just have all the same patience. So can we just like
is it a good mix out there? Is it mostly dudes or is there women and men? Is it a 50-50?
I would say probably like 60-40 for men, but there's more and more women now. Like professionally, I think it's more men, but there's still, some women doing some amazing stuff out there. So, but yeah, yeah, it's well balanced, I would
What
say.
about in your tours or your mentorships and stuff? Is you getting a similar mix there?
I get more women usually, when they travel, they like, to have someone who
Right,
like take care of everything, security and everything, I guess. So I would get more women for
right,
for the
right.
photo tours.
I mean, you told me like wildlife photography is not something you can learn in a classroom. Like you need to be out in the field and then
Yeah.
having a mentor, just you can learn it on your own, but a mentor will speed things up. When did you start doing these sorts of workshops and stuff?
I started like the Kayak photo tour started 7 years ago when I still had that job I told you about.
Yeah,
And it's one of the reasons why I needed to leave because I was like, every morning I had some customer and I had to go work for the bank after. So I couldn't just do it anymore. So yeah, I started 7 years ago and the travel, like the real like photo tours, like a week or two trips. I started 4 years ago when I left the job actually.
yeah, yeah. And now, like you've been doing this 7 years, you've just won, the photographer of the year for Canadian Geographic. If you show up at the park, do people get out of your way like, oh, here comes the OG? Like let Max have his
Oh
shot.
my gosh. No, not really, because especially in my city, I know the people, and
Right.
I'm just like very, very friendly with them. But yeah, people sometimes recognize me. They're just like, "Oh, can I take a photo?" I'm just like, "Oh, okay, yeah, why not?" So yeah, it's pretty fun.
You're the
But
new wildlife. People get a
yeah,
photo with
yeah,
you.
yeah, for the year anyway. So
What's that like? Is it strange? Like obviously you get recognized out in the field. You probably get messages, women looking for dates, hitting you up on the Instagram. How has that been ramping up over the years, or how? What does that feel like? It's weird sometimes for people to have fans.
yeah, it is. It is. I mean, I'm okay with that because for a photographer, the more exposure you have, the best it is for the business, but also because you want to share your work with as many people as possible. So it's a good thing. So yeah, I just get a lot of attention. I still like to be behind the camera,
Yeah.
So sometimes I did some shows, and like now podcast is fine, so we don't see me. It's good, but even like some things on the TV, and I'm just like I'm not that comfortable. I'm getting more comfortable because I'm doing it more and more, but it's still not like my favorite part. My favorite part is being out there alone shooting
Yeah.
animals in the wild, but it's part of the job.
All right, let's take a quick break and hear from our friends over at the North Face. Hiking? It's not just putting one foot after another or following a trail. At the North Face, hiking invites you to become part of something bigger, wilder, undefinable. That's why they've innovated gear that unearths a new kind of trail. Constructed with Dry Vent, their most versatile waterproof solution, the North Face jackets deliver reliable protection from the elements while regulating your temperature. Rain or shine, go further with layers built to keep up. Forge your own path at thenorthface.com. Did you grow up spending a lot of time out in nature? Like, was that something part of your
Yeah.
childhood?
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, I was just living next to rivers. So I would just, catch fish and butterflies and look at the birds. So yeah, started when I was a kid.
What, obviously you're based in Quebec, that's your home, but you get to travel, all over the place. Is there one region that you've been that you like can't wait to get back to?
Yeah, there's one actually just booked a couple of weeks ago. I'm going back to Patagonia,
Right.
yeah, Chile and Argentina. So yeah, I went twice. It was 7 years ago to photograph my the puma. And yeah, now so I'm going back for the mountain lions. It's going to be, very exciting trip. I'm going back in November. For me, it's probably one of the most beautiful region in the world because you have like beautiful open space, you have beautiful old growth forests, like the mountains, the animals. It's just like incredible. And when I was there, there was not a lot of tourists. I feel like things might have changed, because now it's just like the mountain lion capital of the world. So everyone who wants to photograph on will go there. So I just hope things didn't change that much. But
Right.
it's been 7 years, so I think I have to face the truth. I won't be alone this time, but it's okay. I'm sure I just love this place.
Canada is known as one of the best wildlife photography countries, right?
Yeah,
And then also Africa, right? Like they've got the big animals there. Have you spent much
yeah.
time, shooting those traditional safari animals or?
No, honestly, I never went to Africa. I just again booked. This is what I'm doing lately, just booking some trips. But I'm going to Uganda in March next year. First trip to Africa, so it's going to be great photographing gorilla mainly.
Right.
But I've never been to Africa because I feel like we've seen it quite a bit. The animals, the big five, and everything. So I didn't have a lot of interest. I feel also I like more like the northern species, like beautiful, also snowy atmosphere, what we get in Canada actually. So this is probably why I didn't go before, but yeah, I'm still excited about like, exploring this other side of the world.
Is that something that you try to like impart on your students and when you do these mentorships, like you can have just as beautiful a day shooting a smaller, less known animal as going after a lion or something like this?
Oh yeah, I
Like,
agree. For me, yeah, I think the animal you photograph is way less important than like the composition of the image you have. So I would rather photograph just like, a chickadee, but in a most beautiful forest than like, I don't know, a bear in a like, shitty place. So I really like the environment and the aesthetic that you have in a photo. And I think that is way more important than like the rarity of the animal you're photographing itself.
right. Do you ever have days where you go out and you come back with like nothing that you're happy with, or do you always get
Oh,
something?
oh my God. Oh no. I mean, lately it's good because like spring, summer, you have like it's very productive. We have a way more animal than the rest of the year. But during winter, it's hard.
Right.
Honestly, you can go out for like 2 weeks every morning, and you always come back with nothing. And it can be hard at some point after like when you wake up every morning, you go out in the cold and nothing happens. You're just like, oh God, will I
Right.
get like my lucks? But you just keep going, and at the end of the day, patient pays. So
Yeah. And I mean, for me, I look at it sort of similar to going fishing, right? You go fishing for a steelhead, you usually don't catch a steelhead. And then you come back and you tell everybody, whether you believe it or not, you tell everybody, oh, it's just nice to be out on the water, right? And it is nice to be out on the water. Is it similar
yeah.
with photography? Like, even when you don't get anything, you're like, dude, this is a lot better than the bank.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, every morning, especially now, as I said, I do a lot of kayak. So every morning, I'm just like, oh my God, this is so good. And I did put some stories, and I'm like, this is my office for the day. People are, oh my God, I'm stuck inside a real office.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm still, very, very happy about, what I do. And even if I don't get some photos, it's still okay. But obviously, if I can get back with some nice shots,
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
the best.
It's always nice to catch something. Uh
Yeah.
last time we talked a lot about sometimes you just have to go sit in a like a hide or like a blind for hours and hours and hours and wait for the animal to like to arrive or to turn the head. Like
Yeah.
how do you what do you let's start actually even setting up the hide. Is it something you can buy it and then you like put moss and stuff on it, or is it come out of the package ready to go, or did you have to make your own out of sticks when you were starting out?
There is actually multiple sites. So there are literally some like pop-up tent that you can just use, and you just put it there. You hide inside the animal. Don't know you're there. You just wait. I guess it depends on the animal you want to photograph and the place where you need to set it up.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to work like in the next few weeks on a project to photograph some kestrel because I have like an incredible nest that is eye level, which is like unbelievable. It's going to be hard because I did it last year, but you have no idea. I won't explain like the entire procedure to do this because I need to do like I need to carry my kayak for like for miles, and after that I need to put some waders because I need to like walk on like literally floating island. This is where they nest, and after I will need to set up this blind, and I cannot move because if I do like a single movement, they just know that I'm there. So I need to get there before sunrise, so which imply like waking up at like 2 a.m. in the morning, and then you need to wait and hope like that the bird will show up before the sun gets too harsh.
Right.
But if there is no sun, I thought it. I'm telling you that because I did it last year. But like last year, it took me a while to figure out that they were catching mainly dragonfly, but dragonfly were not out when it was cloudy.
Right.
And but I was not going out when it was sunny because I didn't want to get harsh light, but it took me a while to figure that out. So I think I spent like probably 50 hours on the project to end up with one photo. And now, so the kestrel are nesting again. I just found the nest. I'm just like, oh my God, they're back. But I still remember from last summer, I was like, oh my God, I put so much time and so much effort into this. I'm like, will I do it again? So knowing me, I will do it again because I want to get better photos, and it's still nice to be out there. But yeah, it's a lot of work.
It's interesting to like it again. I'll draw a parallel to fishing, but fly fishing, you look at the flies that are in the water, in the air, and that's what you put on your thing. So how much of your expertise is knowing like what animals eat, what time of year the dragonflies are hatching, and like how much biology does play a role or could play a role if somebody really wanted to like moneyball it and nerd out about the actual biological interactions of the world that you're out in rather than just the visual.
Yeah, I feel like, the more you know about the animal and like the habitat and everything, and the more likely you are to get some good photos. Because if you don't know anything, for example, the kestrel for me last summer, it was a first for me.
Right.
So all the knowledge that I have now, I know I'm going to get much better. But you need to experience it first, right?
Yeah.
So, and then as I said last time we spoke, so the more time you spend in the field, the more like you observe everything, and you just learn. And after that, it just help you, to have better chance to get what you want.
And is that what you're doing when you're in the blind for 6 hours without moving? You're just looking around and observing, or what's going through your head? Like, how do you keep yourself from going crazy?
Oh, I'm getting crazy also because of mosquitoes. You have no idea. Like it's a nightmare there. So usually I'm just like waiting there. You just think, and I also spend a lot of time on my phone when I'm waiting. I know I
Right.
should just be like pure connection with nature, but I'm just after like 30 minutes of like nothing happens, and then you feel your phone vibrating. You're just like, okay, maybe I will have a look. It's better not to because sometimes you miss some shots.
Yeah.
Truly, it happens a lot. You're just on your phone, and then when you look, you're just like, oh my god, what you were waiting
Yeah,
for
it's
just
there.
happened, and you missed it
Yeah.
because you were on your phone and you waited for hours. So it's better not to do it. But at the end of the day, I still try because part of my job is from the phone, like through social media and everything. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
better take advantage of this time.
You're
Yeah.
you're not listening to music though, right? Because you need to be able to hear what's going on.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, no,
And
absolutely
I
not.
guess in
Yeah.
a lot of places like North Vancouver Island, like the phone's not working, right?
Yeah, which is a good thing in
Yeah.
that case. So
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
I don't have the temptation to go on my phone.
Totally. So, um, lately there's the whole thing with AI, right? And people are generating. I think there was a famous picture of like a bird on a twig, and you could see its breath, and everyone was losing their mind about like, oh, it's so cold you can see the bird's breath, and it turns out that's an AI. That was an AI thing. Um, is that present new challenges for the industry, or is it pretty much everybody circling the wagon and anti AI, but also, it's potentially going to come a time soon where no one can tell the difference.
Yeah, this I feel like this time has come. Sometimes I look at stuff and like 2, 3 years ago, I could like tell in a second if it was AI or not. But now sometimes I'm just looking and I'm like, is this true? So I have quite a lot of knowledge because of the different species in the world. So now I think for me, I still know, but like people who are not aware, like my mom, sometimes she send me something. I'm just like, Mom, God, it's AI.
Yeah,
But how do you want her to know that this animal doesn't even exist,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So yeah, I'm afraid it's probably going to become a problem at some point. I'm afraid also like I'm like, will people like generate their own image that they will get, instead of buying a print? But I think there will still be like a market for like the real
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. I mean, I think from
Uh
the magazine perspective, right? With
yeah,
us, it's not as big of a deal yet because it's very people based and but for Canadian Geographic, like I wonder if it'll ever be a time where your submission has to be on slide film again, just to prevent the AI
yeah.
interference.
That maybe I'm sure because and things are moving
Have
fast
you?
with this, right?
Yeah.
It's been like just a couple of years, and now we're always talking about this. So yeah, honestly, I have no idea what
For
to
you,
expect for the
you've always
future.
shot digital, right? You never shot animals on slides, have you?
No, 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 no,
Can
just
you imagine
digital.
how hard it must be?
Oh
Because
my
you have
God,
no
no.
idea.
I prefer not to imagine. Can you? But I mean, it must have been so exciting, when you get like to this dark room and you just look and you have what you
Yeah.
wanted. But honestly, they were doing an incredible job. Now it's so much easier with like the autofocus and all the technology we
Yeah,
have.
and
It's
even
much
just
much
getting your
easier.
light levels dialed before the animal gets there, right? Or
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
And maybe it's why there's more people doing it now because it's more affordable than ever.
yeah. Um, on the ethics conversation, we talked about this a little bit before, but the baiting of animals, how people would put mice in a field for owls or put a fish
Hmm.
under the water. And I know you said it seems like that's less and less and less. But
Yeah.
do you still ever see that out in the field, or you see photos which it's obviously been baited?
Not much in Quebec anyway. I think if people are doing it here, they're probably hiding very well. I know this still happens in Ontario, in Ottawa. It still happens a lot. In the prairies too. I don't know who's doing it there, but we still see some photos coming from there. There's still a market for this. People are paying good money for people, especially from Europe or from the States to get like snowy owl flying towards you. um but I feel like there's less and less people interested in that kind of experience. So for example, me, I offer some tours to photograph the owls, but it's mentioned on my website there's no baiting. We will need to wait. Hopefully we'll find them, and
Yeah.
hopefully we'll get lucky, so just people know what to expect. So I'm just like, we're not going to go like in a field that will throw a mice and we'll have the owl flying towards us. This won't happen with
Yeah,
me. So
yeah. What about have you ever um thought about getting underwater animals? Like get the underwater housing and go down and get some fish.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking about this a lot, but it's pricey. Oh my, I like, and it's even hard to get that gear in Canada. You need to go to the States to get a proper gear. So, but I looked into it. I'm pretty sure it's, someday I'm gonna do it. I feel like now I still have a lot, on the land, and I'm, happy to shoot.
Yeah.
And but at some point, I was just like, I really want to discover this new world, like underwater. I have my also my diving license. Do we
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
license? I don't know, but you
Certificate.
know what I
Yeah.
mean. Yeah, I was certificate. So yeah, hopefully maybe in a couple of years, next time we talk, maybe I will be there. Who knows?
Awesome. What animals are you going after this year? Have you got a hit list of stuff you want to see?
Yeah, that's right. I have a couple trip plans. So next one is Alaska, in August for the bears. So bears catching salmon. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. I told you about Patagonia too,
Yeah.
going to Alberta and the Rockies in September. So yeah, I have a few trips planned. So
When
yeah, hopefully we'll have some good
when
encounters.
you go on a trip, it's more for mammal, usually not bird. Like I know you've been very not focused, but you've have a lot of experience with bird throughout your career.
Yeah.
But do you go on a bird trip or do you usually go for mammal?
Oh, I would go for both.
Right.
Yeah, for like everything. My interest is I have like a very general interest for every like living creature. I'm very happy about that because some people are just focused on the big mammals. This is all they want to have, big mammals and owls. But for me, I just like even the small birds. I love like everything. So it's why, I'm everywhere I go, I'm just so thrilled to experience some new things, see some new species. So
Yeah, yeah.
whatever I get, I'm still very excited about.
I think there's a challenge in that too. Like if you can make a photo of a mouse look beautiful, right? That's shows talent to the photographer because nobody cares about a mouse, right?
I think so too. And I love mouse. Honestly, I have a couple photos of them and just like the super small creature. I love them. Yeah, totally agree.
What I mean, you do mentorship. Um, when we spoke, you did list out some good advice, but what's the worst piece of advice you think for a young photographer, or something that people tell young photographers, and then it's like it's not even a good advice at all? It's like what's something people should look out for?
That's usually the question I'm asked is like, what advice would you
Yeah,
give to,
yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
photographers starting?
Well, I mean,
It
what advice would you tell them not to do?
not to do. I think it's important just like to keep doing it for fun, end up taking that too seriously because sometimes I see some people out there, especially other people that we said fighting in the field,
Yeah.
they're just like, I'm like, this is not the good way to see things. I mean, you need to go out there to have fun, to experience nature, and if you get your photos, then that's even better. That's for sure. But just like, don't take yourself too seriously. And also, I think it's important to try not to become super obsessed with this because, like every patient, we can be super obsessed. I'm still a bit obsessed today, to be honest. All I think about is pretty much, photography. But I think it's like everything in this world, it's better to have a balance. So I think to find a nice balance is the most important thing here.
Do you have you ever had like a scary encounter, like charged by a moose or chewed on by a crocodile or anything? Has any have you ever had a like, whoa, maybe I'm getting a little too
Yeah,
close here?
yeah. It was a grizzly bear in the Rockies. So I just saw there was a bear he was eating in a field, and I was like, okay, good. So I'm gonna go like I will park here and I will walk and go like on the other side of the field, not to be too close. But by the time I got there, the bear has moved. And when I got to the field, it was like way too close. And then it surprised me. I surprised him. So he just ran to the forest, and I was like, oh my God, what just happened? So I waited for like, I don't remember how long, but anyway. And then when I got back to the forest to leave, he was waiting for me. So yeah, I had to, take out the bear spray, and he literally like ran at me.
Yeah.
And but like I would say halfway, probably like 20 meters before, getting to me, he just like did go to the opposite direction and just ran to the forest. But yeah, I was just waiting for it, with the bear spray. But I'm pretty sure if I had like just like run away, I would probably not be here anymore. So, and I talk about that to my friend from Alberta, and they were like, "Oh God, man, you're not going to photograph grizzly bear on your own. It was just like a shitty thing to do." So I'm like, I don't know. I'm from Quebec. We just have like small black bears
Yeah.
here. They're not very aggressive. So yeah, it's probably the most like, yeah,
You always
scary thing
have
that happened.
you always have bear spray on you as part of your regular
Mm,
kit or
Never know, because we barely have bears in
Right,
Quebec.
right.
Honestly, I see one like every 5 years probably. So definitely not. It's not like, but now when I'm going to Alberta or BC, yeah.
Yeah. We'll get back to that in a second, but first, ad break. At the North Face, it's never just a hike. It's your chance to unearth a new kind of trail, wide open and yours to define. That's why they've engineered gear to keep you comfortable and confident with every step. Built with dry vent, their waterproof, windproof, breathable technology, the North Face hike jackets keep you out there longer. And stowable options allow you to adapt to every forecast, from sun-soaked days to unexpected downpours. What will you find out there? Redefine your trail at thenorthface.com. What else is some, do you always have headlamp, pocket knife? Like, what's some of your standard equipment that you've had for your whole career that always, is reliable for you?
Oh, you mean other than the photography equipment?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
photography
I
equipment
mean,
itself,
the photography equipment is a huge backpack all on its own, right?
yeah, it is like, with the tripod and everything. So, but what I carry, what I really want to have with me, it's just my kayak. I know it's not probably not the answer you're looking for, but just like, having this, you're able to explore like body of water. And I feel like around water, you see so much animal. I'm planning to go actually to the west, to BC and Alberta next spring for quite a while. I plan to spend the entire spring and summer there. And just like, oh my God, I'm going to bring my kayak. I'm going to have so much fun, discover some like new places, wild places. Yeah, it's going to be great.
Awesome. Kayak over paddleboard. I like that.
Yeah, that's for sure. Because I would rather not put my like 30,000 gear on a paddleboard.
Yeah.
You don't know what would have happened. So
Yeah, yeah. What are you, if you're sitting in the blind or you're out kayaking or you're out all day, you're not going to open a bag of chips and crinkle and crunch. Like, what are you eating out there or drinking? How do you stay, nourished?
I usually take some protein bar and some like, shake, some like little like 30 grams of protein per like 100 millimeters. You know what I mean? I don't know the brand, but yeah, usually I take that. And I just eat when I get back home.
Right.
And sometimes it can be late, but if I have, if I'm out there in nature and I'm just enjoying myself, usually I'm not going to be thinking about the fact that I'm starving. So it's good.
Do you ever experience where you're out on a trip in the wilderness or even after a day of being all by yourself and then you get back to the city and like does it feel weird and you sort of like, oh my, this is off-putting.
Yeah, that happens. I'm still, lucky enough to live not in such a big city,
Right.
and I'm in the suburbs, so I'm still like in peace here. But sometimes when I travel somewhere and then yeah, you go back like to this big town, because you have to go through there for the airport. I'm just like, oh my God, can I just go back, in the wilderness, please? But I feel like, it's a necessary step that you have to go to the big cities to like experience other wildlife. So it's
Yeah,
at the end of the
yeah.
day, I guess it's fine. Yeah.
It's different, traffic
Yeah,
in
yeah, that's for sure.
Vancouver traffic after being on the coast with bears all week.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
an
I would
adjustment.
rather avoid Vancouver. Yeah, that's for sure.
um what do you do? You said you're a little bit obsessed and you're always thinking about photography and about animals, but
hmm
what do you do to relax or to turn that part of your brain off?
Oh,
What's your downtime look like?
honestly, there's not much downtime, I'm afraid. I'm still trying to figure this out. No, honestly, sometimes I would just crash on the couch, but again, I will just, look at my phone, answering some message. So I
Right.
really believe like my entire life is pretty much devoted to this, which is good because, my job is my passion. So I'm still very, I'm very happy about that. Love my life, but I would say like photography is at
Yeah.
the very center of all of it. But yeah, sometimes I watch TV, like everyone, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, yeah. So what about like any last time you remember reading a good book or watching a good movie, or you don't really have time for that?
I don't really take time for that.
Right.
I would put it that way. But yeah, watching movies sometimes, but like reading a book, I don't recall the last time.
But you read magazines because you're in them.
I do. Yes, that's for sure.
It feels like this kind of all-consuming lifestyle, it would make it hard to have like a partner or a wife or something. Have you run into that
Yeah.
challenge? I know there was a story about you had to share a camera with your girlfriend and that went poorly.
Oh yeah.
But does it make it a real challenge to have that side of a social existence?
Yeah, that's for sure. Because in the past few years, I've been away for about like half of the year. So yeah, I guess it's hard. I'm alone now. I'm single. I'm okay that way. But yeah, at some point, if I want to find someone, I'll probably need to like learn to slow down and accept the fact that I won't be traveling and I won't be doing photos and I won't be out in nature that much. But I'm just not ready to sacrifice that. And now I'm just starting to wonder. I'm just like, will I be ready for
Yeah,
this
yeah.
someday, or will I stay alone my entire life? I don't know.
I
We'll
know.
see.
I wonder,
Yeah,
but
maybe next time we talk,
like
well, I'll have good news. Who
obviously you're
knows?
still quite young. You're in the peak of your career so far. You don't have to think about. I
Yeah.
I wonder what does a retirement plan for an wilderness photographer look like? Because you can take picture of animal like probably your whole life.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I have some customer there. Like, I come back from Europe like 2 months ago, and I had two customers. They were 75,
Yeah.
and so I'm like, yeah, I still have a lot of time ahead of me. So yeah, but I'm not thinking about retirement yet.
I can
So
see it already.
yeah.
Max's pet photography studio where you bring your cat,
Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. Why not? Yeah, that's a good. I'll take note.
horses. Everyone with a horse wants a photo of their horse, right? So,
That's true. They love their horse.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
What do you do to treat yourself? If you're like, maybe you get a paycheck from a magazine or something, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to treat myself. Do you buy a piece of gear? Do you go out for a nice dinner, or do you book a trip somewhere? Or?
I'll probably book a trip.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. This is probably about what I would do. Yeah. This is what I told you. This is what I'm doing lately. I'm just like planning some trips for like the next year. So I have like so many projects, so many places I want to go. So I'm trying to do like some new places every year. So this is really for me the way to treat myself. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you if you could live say you could live for a month with one animal like you see those old videos of the guy that lived with the grizzlies, or what animal would you want to live what
Yeah.
animal would you want to live with without being able to come home, like sleep on the ground with this animal?
I guess, being part of a wolf pack would be pretty cool
Yeah.
because, they're skittish, they're so smart, there is no way to get close to them. So being, at the
In
center of this like pack would be pretty cool. So yeah, wolf,
You've seen that
definitely.
movie, right? The wolf guy, what's it called?
Yeah.
Never Cry
Yeah,
Wolf.
yeah. Oh, I don't know if it's the same you're
Yeah,
talking
I
about.
can't remember the name, but he's up in the north in Atlan with the caribou, living with the wolves.
Yeah, okay. Oh, you mean the one, the Arctic wolves?
Mm, I guess
The white
I
one?
probably should have researched this. It's an old movie, but
Oh,
have
okay,
you been
yeah.
up there for the caribou migration?
No, I haven't. We have a caribou migration in the north of Quebec, but
Right.
it's quite remote. It's hard to get there. It's very harsh. You need to get some extra fuel. You need to be able also to sleep in your car. So I never went, but it's definitely part of the big list someday
And
of things to do.
do you have like ethics around like taking a helicopter in to where the animals are, or you'll just get there however? Like you're not a purist where if you're not hiking, it doesn't count or anything like that?
Oh no, because I mean, if you need to get to remote places, there's usually only one way to get there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't have any problem taking a plane.
Have you spent much time in the north, like for the Dall sheep or those, those animals from northern Canada?
I went to Alaska twice. I'm going back this summer, but yeah, Dall sheep there at the very top of my list. When I go, I didn't go to the mountains. I'm going more like to coastal
Yeah,
regions, so where I cannot see them. But I want to travel there, like into Yukon to photograph the Dall sheep, especially during winter.
yeah,
White on white is
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
beautiful. So yeah, I need to do this at some point.
Well, it's good. It sounds like there's lots of animals you haven't even had a chance to
Oh
go after
yeah,
yet.
yeah,
Like, so
exactly.
there's
I don't know if I'll have enough of a lifetime to photograph them all. I mean, that's for sure. It's never going to happen. So you need to decide your priority, I guess.
how many photographs do you think you've taken in the last 10 years? Like, is it a million or
Oh, how many clicks?
yeah,
You mean?
like,
Oh,
or to get like that shot of the bear that we talked about, right? Or the two raccoons in the tree or your loon family. Are you dumping like
oh, that's
60,
so.
70, 100 photos, like 100 clicks to get one good photo or?
Today is a rainy day in Quebec, so I was just calling some photos. And for the Loon family, so I went 3 times and I had like 12,000
Oh,
photos.
wow.
So 3 times for the 3 past mornings.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. I was, when I see something I like, and when I sometimes get carried away and I just click too much.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I would rather click more, and it's just gonna take more time. at the end to choose the one you want, but at least you will be sure to have your shot.
And out of those 3 days, like how many shots did you get where you're like, I love this one?
I would say probably like 15.
Right.
Probably 15. I'm probably gonna like post like 3 or 4, something like that. Yeah.
So it's a lot of
That's a good.
it's a lot of reviewing
Yeah.
though. A lot of you need a lot of rainy days.
Yeah. That's yeah. It's honestly today it was perfect because I needed a rainy day because I'm going out every morning at this time of the year, and you wake up early. Like the alarm is between 2 a.m. to 3:30. So when I wake up at 3:30, I'm just like, oh wow, I slept late today.
Wow.
So yeah, it's good to have like one day to chill. But again, as I told you, I'm still working. I'm just not taking photos, but it's good. I'm enjoying myself, so that's what matters, I guess.
When you think about your life, whether it's before you became a photographer or during your photography career, what's the best piece of advice that anyone's ever given you? It could be about photography, life, anything, just a really good piece of advice.
Mm. Someone told me like before doing the big move for to become full-time photographer to wait, not to wait because and this is also an advice I could give to other people, I think, because I see a lot of people out there, they're like, oh my god, I want to become full-time wildlife photographer, so they just like leave their job, but they're not making a lot of money from this, and then after like a year or two they just need to find a new their job, and they feel like so bad about this. So I feel like I think for me to the fact that I waited for many years helped me being where I am now. So I was already solid in business before I left my job, which like probably is my success now. So
Yeah.
I think everything comes in time if you put the effort.
Yeah. If you do the work and you'll be
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, exactly. I guess so. If you're lucky, there's a bit of lucky factor too in
Of
that.
course. Awesome. Well, Max, I love it. I think we're good. Thank you so much for your time.
Good.
And
Hey, nice talking to you.
yeah, we can send everybody to the website, right?
Yep.
It's just your name. I'll put a link in the description. I got to,
Awesome.
my French isn't that good, but Maxime Légaré-Vézina.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you got it.
Awesome.
.com. Yeah.
All right, brother. Good luck with the next 12,000 clicks, and we'll talk soon.
Hey, thanks, man. Okay, see you.
Thanks, Max. Okay, incredible. Thank you, Maxime. I know people want to see your photos, so everyone should head over to the website, which is just Max's name without the accent aigu. So that's MaximeLegaraVezina.com. There's stunning photos, prints for sale, photo workshop trips, and even a book called Quebec Sauvage, which is going to be awesome. And that's where we'll leave it. Thanks to Shirai Rules and Adrian Gendro for the voiceovers and the guitars off the top. And thanks to all of you for listening. Please tell your friends to tune in on their next big road trip and bring Live It Up with Mountain Life along on their next adventure. For those who love to read and look at real printed photographs, all the summer regional issues of Mountain Life are out. Find those wherever you can, or hit up mountainlifemedia.ca to stay up to date on all the latest stories and shots, as well as the Mountain Life store. We'll be back in a month or so, which means summer is already flying by. So have fun out there, be kind to each other and the landscape and the animals, and definitely leave the campsite better than you found it.